Today we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, Studio Series 91 The Fallen. Let's crack this guy open, see what he looks like. So here we have the Fallen free of his biodegradable restraints, looking pretty good. There's a lot of black on this guy. This guy is all black and shades of gunmetal gray, but with lots of really nice pops of silver colors here and pops of orange, blue, which really makes him stand out a lot. As we all know, the Bayverse designs, especially if there's not a defined robot and defined combo of robot and alt mode, they're just kind of a mess of jumbled parts that shift around. It can be very confusing. So it's really nice that there are these nice little touches all around on him. We'll bring him in here a little bit closer, and we can see that we've got some really nice metallic, shiny blue going on the little shoulder spikes and the shoulders here. A really nice, vibrant, fluorescent orange working all the way down through here. These pieces are actually a clear, thick, smoky plastic, like an opaque plastic, which is really interesting. It also has some very nice painted details here. Again, we have a nice shiny blue here, which I have actually some paint scraping on my guy. The mask has very beautiful blue shiny paint on it as well. Turn around to the back. Got this really rad armature here that that flexes when he moves. So this is pretty cool. When you lift the arm up and when you move it around, this can stay attached and articulate with the figure. Now, when you get in certain areas, like when you start popping the arm up a little too much, like if you're trying to go shoulder high, you know, that's coming off. But for the most part, it moves with them very nicely due to some really cool pegs here, or ball joints. So this is where the ball joint plugs into, but then there's this extra little receiver here that flexes with it. I think that's a very cool piece of engineering on this figure. As a whole, he looks really good. Was not very excited about this. Don't really care that much about the character, but I saw it at Target and got a crazy good deal on it, so I am one that cannot pass up a good deal. But overall, looks really good. It does have a couple cool features, one of them being this staff here. Comes in 2 pieces. He can hold it in both of his hands if you would like to. Go down through here and down through here. So that's pretty cool that he can dual wield weapons. It does kind of make his hands have a funky little thing going on here, just because there's got to be a way to hold it. So he's got these weird recurved, not only thumb, but I guess extra bottom thumb. I don't know what this. He's got lots of fingers. So we got 2, 4, 6. He's got too many fingers. So it's kind of strange. But he's an alien robot. What am I saying about strange here? Another feature is the light piping in the head. So let me get set up and show you guys how the light piping in this guy works. It is really cool. All right, taking a closer look at the head here. You can kind of see it now, but I'll bring a little more light in. You can see the awesome blazing orange light piping that comes through this. This is really good. It's a very good effect. And I'll show you why that is. It's because in the mask here, we have just a solid piece that runs through the light piping all the way through the top, all the way down through here to where you would see the eyes. That is really good. And it even carries out through the entire head. You can see here, I'll lift it up a little bit so we can get a little more light in there. His whole head is cast clear. This is that smoky gray plastic, but there's this orange inside that really pulls through, and you can even see his head lighting up here, and then his eyes just blazing through, which is so good looking. A really cool detail, and for something that's mostly not going to get seen, because no one's displaying this guy like this unless they have a Optimus ripping his face off, because this is just a weird, freaky chicken beak mouth thing going on. His mouth does open up, so he can scream in agony as Optimus rips his face off, which is pretty cool. I mean, again, jaw articulation in an area where most of the time you're not going to be seeing it. Again, they really did some nice things with this figure. And for a figure that I wasn't super excited about, very impressed by it. We can pop this mask back on and again see, man, he just looks so awesome with this mask on. The Fallen here gets most of the articulation that you would expect. Let's pop the spear out here just so we can make this easier on ourselves. He's going to get some head rotation or tilt from side to side, a little bit up, a little bit down, mainly because the mask gets in the way, and it fell off anyway. So let's just show here you can get a little more down and more up when the mask is off. Head is going to rotate all the way around like this, which is 360 rotation at the head, but in a different plane than we're used to, mainly because the Fallen's head here sits slightly forward. It doesn't sit atop of his spine, I guess you would say. So you get kind of a rotation around rather than your standard right to left, but he does have really good right to left movement on the head. Getting into the arm articulation of the Fallen, we get a full 360 at the wrist like most leader class figures get nowadays. We're going to get a 90 on the way in as well as actually more than a 90 at the elbow here. And if we pull off the armature here, we can actually get a full 360 at the bicep, as well as a full 360 at the shoulder. And backing him up a little bit, you get some crazy stretching all the way up. Of course, this can stay plugged in to his arm. It does hamper some of the articulation, but you do get a pretty good range of motion, even coming straight out. It flexes when it bends in. He can come up some with it. So it is really, really cool, the fact that this moves so well. It's not perfect. It is going to hamper your articulation to some degree, but that does work out pretty well even during articulation. We get a good amount of leg rotation in various areas. There is no waist rotation, so having all of this leg rotation makes it possible for him to get in some very nice poses. First, we're going to see we can rotate the hips all the way back and pretty much all the way forward as well. This is going to be due to transformation, which we will see later. On the side of the leg, we're going to get a bend. You only get about this far back on the bend, only about this far forward, but we get a complete 360 at the knee. We get a complete 360 at the ankle. The toes actually articulate to close down. That's going to be due to transformation, which we will see later as well. For some ankle tilt, we get out about this far, and we actually get a slight inward tilt, which is kind of nice. Normally don't see that. Again, no waist rotation here, simply because of the transformation, which we'll see. He's a solid body, so there's no way to break that up. I mean, it probably could have been done, but they've already done so many things to this figure, to this leader class figure, that adding that one little extra piece of articulation might have broke the budget. I feel they used a pretty good amount of budget already on this guy, just due to the amount of sculpting that are in him. And man, he has a lot of sculpted details. So one of my favorite and least favorite things about this guy, I think, is going to be his back. I mean, this whole feat of engineering is really cool to me. I really like the way this flexes up and out like this. I think this is just so cool. At the same time, it doesn't stay pegged in that well, which can be kind of annoying, and it tends to pop off when you're moving the arms around, and also hinder articulation. Also, this is a bit parched for me, which we'll see when we transform it up into the alt mode. But again, like, even the back looks really good. Just this figure is so clean. There's the few screw holes that you have here, but really, even some of the deep inset screw holes work. I mean, it kind of almost works to give them a few little pops of contrast to the all black design. And even this right here, look how crazy this is. There's just stripes on the inside of this peg rotation, just to give that little extra flair. Just so cool, the painting that they did on this guy. I can't remember who worked on this I know it wasn't Mark at them. I don't know, it may have been Evan that worked on this one. But man, it's such a good looking robot mode. Again, wasn't very excited about it. Picked it up on a whim because it was a good deal, but I'm liking it a lot. With all that said, let's transform him up and take a look at him in his alt mode. Transformation for the Fallen isn't anything too special. There's basically just 6 tabs that go into 6 slots and a lot of turns and twists for what becomes basically a glorified flying cockroach. Pretty simplistic. The little outriggers, little armatures on the outside tend to fall off, which can be kind of annoying when you transform it. It's basically parts forming at that point. I try to keep them on when I transform it, but they tend to fall off. So here we have the Fallen transformed up into his very strange looking alt mode. Looks like some kind of cockroach spaceship or something. Very insectile look to him, but actually pretty cool. The images of it and the image on the screen does not do justice to actually how neat this looks. First I was like, I don't like this. Just looking at the packaging art, but in hand it is a very cool alt mode here. We still have some of those details that carry over from the robot mode. So you have the little pops of blue. You see from where the Fallen's face mask peeks out from underneath where his chest flipped over there, which is a nice little touch. Adds a little break up to the color. Again, you have the nice orange cockpit breaking up the gunmetal gray section, and the few little pops of the orange like we saw the back, and even orange in the back. That's almost like the glowing of the back end of a ship, almost like glowing of thrusters. Turning all the way around here. Side is the same as the other. Of course, weapon storage just ticks into 2 5mm pegs there. The only thing I'm not a fan, again, thing that I like about this figure, one of the things I like the most and also detest the most, are the little armatures here. They are a pain to stay on when you're transforming it. It's best just to take them off, but at that point it's just parts forming. You can say what you want about parts forming. Sometimes I'm okay with it, sometimes I'm like, eh. This is one of those cases where I'm like, eh. It kind of bothers me a little bit for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe just because they're so fiddly when you're keeping them on here. And they're kind of fiddly to get to peg in. It's not like they're hard. It's just they're fiddly. Fiddly is the best word I can find to use for them. So that's him in his alt mode. Again, really cool looking. Not a ton to say about him, except for all of that detailing carries over. And also, it's real nice that the light piping from the head here sticks out at the back, almost like a thruster. So this area looks really, really cool when viewed from the back, to give it a nice little bit of visual interest there. So let's put him back in bot mode and have some final thoughts on the Fallen here. So for some final thoughts on Studio Series 91 The Fallen, very cool figure. Again, I didn't think I was going to like it that much, but it looks really nice. Pretty cool. Transformation it's boring. It's just nothing special. Don't really like that. The alt mode is really nothing. So the transformation of nothing kind of turns into nothing. But the designers worked with what they had and made what they did based off the designs and based off the couple of times we see him just flurry up in the movie. Paint is very nice. The light piping is awesome. The back armature, again, I love it. I think that's very cool, and I also hate it because the transformation part of that is very annoying to me. Does not ever want to stay on. The articulated mouth under the mask, very cool detail for them to put in that they didn't have to. And again, the way that the head actually kind of simulates a jet engine in the back, that's a really cool detail. Actually didn't really look at this weapon. It's a pretty cool staff. It's a big mama jama. And integrates into the alt mode. I guess you could say it integrates in kind of, but anyhow, that's been my look at the Fallen. Subscribe, If you would, I'd greatly appreciate that. Leave a comment, engage with me, and let me know what you think about this guy. I may not have picked him up if he wasn't on such a crazy sale, and he was on a crazy, crazy sale. So let me know what you think. Love you all. God bless, and have a great day.